Hey, 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 hey. How is everybody doing? How is everyone today? Boys, what are we doing? You already know the drill. Drop a number one if you can hear me in the comment section, pretty please. Not if you can hear me down in the comment section, even though I'm down there. But if you can hear me, drop a one in the comment section. I do hope y'all are well. Let me get over to my little YouTube screen. Hello, Tori. We've got a one from Miss Tori. Hello, Andy. Hello, Emily. Y'all, welcome all these lovely moderators to the sofa. I was going to say to the table, but to the sofa. We can do the table too. I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks, everybody, for dropping the ones. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope everybody's wonderful today. Hey, Wing Beats. Hey, Barb. Hey, Huma Fox. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, Lori. Hey Jello, hey Sandra, Amy, April, with respect. How's everybody doing? Hey Deb, Cosmos, what's up? Hey Paddle, hey Vanessa, hey the Sandy, Valerie, Paula, 12's my limit. I hope everybody's doing just wonderful. So, you already know, y'all know what day it is. I don't even have to tell y'all. What I do have to tell y'all, it's like Jamie Komorowski trial is going on next door practically, and this is going here, but we've been invested in this for years. We're going to see it through, and then we'll continue on with the with the Jamie Komorowski thing. So I hope everybody's doing well. So today, obviously, we are live streaming Sarah Boone's sentencing. Now, pardon me, as you know or do not know, Sarah Boone was convicted in the death of her now late boyfriend, George Torres. She somehow got him into a suitcase. She left him in there while he begged for his life. She recorded him. She mocked him. She made fun of him. Then she went upstairs. She passed out. And time out. Kath says, Paul, Jamie is pleading guilty right now. Are you kidding me, Kath? My brain can't. Hey, Chrissy, I hope you're feeling good. My brain can't handle this. I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't. Hey, Derek, how's it going? Um, Overload. Just shut down. I can't, y'all. Oh my goodness. Well, hey, Samantha, it's good seeing you. Well, we might have to visit that, get an update on that here in a little bit. So hold on. The boys are very excited. I've been gone for the morning. Come on, boys. Hey, 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 hey. Let's be nice. Come say hey. Bo's gonna come say hey. Hey, hey, everybody. What's going on? Hey, what's up? Bo and Luke have been. Yeah, you got cute little keys here for daddy. Now this one right here is a master sneaker outer. Bo has learned how to. He breached 3 security things yesterday: a gate, a front door, and a porch door. Twice he did this. Hey Jenny, how's it going? It's good seeing you. I hope you're well. The boys are loving all the stuff you sent. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. You don't know how happy that obviously made them and me. That was very sweet of you. I really appreciate it. Um, he knows how to open screen doors. He knows how to get through his little gate. He's a very, very intelligent little dog. So, and well, he can't leave little Bo out or little Luke out. Come here. Say, what about me, Dad? Come on now. Hey, yes. And Luke is smart in his own way, but not in escaping, which is good. Come on. Okay, so here we are. So, Jamie Komorowski is this trial going over on the Carissa says, will you please consider covering Corey Richards' recent court? Oh, I have to look at that. I've been following that. But yeah, I'll look at it. Hey Leslie, how's it going? So, hey John. Okay, so Jamie Komorowski, for those who are wondering, she is the the lady who got drunk and ran into the bride in the golf cart and killed her. And she's pleading guilty right now. So we did a live chat last night, well, on this channel, and we watched and listened to a bunch of her phone calls. They're horrendous. Thanks, Kay, for being a member, and thank you for the compliment. So we did that last night. So that's what that is. I was kind of wondering what was going to go on because nothing's really been out there about it. All of a sudden they're doing the trial. So clearly they came to some kind of deal. Be very curious to see what it is. Be very curious to see what it is. So I hope justice comes forth. You know, because again, she's got a lot of tough lessons to learn. But today we're going to be going over Sarah Boone, and again, we'll do that one too. Let me get over to the screen real quick. So we're just waiting. Let me refresh real quick, just to make sure. Over in the trial, so I just refreshed the Sarah Boone thing. It's not going on yet. Somebody said, Jamie can't plead guilty. I need a trial to watch. I'm like, I get it, right? But back to Sarah Boone. So yeah, Sarah Boone was found guilty. It was a shocker to her apparently, and Sarah is now being sentenced today, and I am sure she will speak. This is what we've all been waiting for. Couple of things while we're sitting here waiting. So if you're a Patreon or a member, we've been doing the Menendez brothers book. I'm thinking maybe this coming weekend we will do, well, let's say Monday, yeah. So maybe this coming weekend we'll do the meet up to go over it. I'll do a little thing out about it. And if I could find the time, I wanted to rewatch some of the Menendez trial, but it's just gotten so crazy. So maybe we'll try and get at least opening statements in their time on the stand, because now, well, we'll get into it more in the discussion with it, but the book, the series, Monsters, to me, Monsters was based on the book, right? So there's that. So also what I'm doing, I don't know if any of y'all have watched the latest Jean Bonnet documentary on Netflix, but I have gone down the rabbit hole, not on that one yet, but the content being made about it. It's like, it seems every few years something comes out and a new generation discovers the case. So I'm tempted now to go, I'll put something on the member side to see if anybody wants to read one of the books on the Jean Bonnet case next. So we'll see. And then hold on one second. I just saw Chrissy. I have to give you a lap. Still not about the doctor and nurse. Chrissy, I hope you're feeling okay. I'm sorry you're back in the hospital. I know that sucks. I hope you're at least having a decent stay. As much as one can, you know what I'm saying? And thank you. And thank you, Emily, for the gifted memberships. Tori says she should have doubled down and kept it on, right? You should have sat there and been like, this is how I'm going to deal with y'all today. So this is my mood. This is where I'm at. Hello, Brenda. How are you doing? How's Utah doing? Is it cold up there? Yeah, I was talking to Derek earlier on the phone about the Jean Bonnet thing and case, and what I mean by thing, I don't mean to reduce it down to that, but about the documentary and whatnot, and just watch all the stuff. And I go back and forth with that case, y'all. I go back and forth over that constantly. I don't think anybody's going to ever know officially, but I told Derek this, and this is one thing I'm curious about. Okay, so imagine once Mr. Ramsey passes, okay, and it's just Burke left of that trio in that, right? Oh, Color Pencil says love you something. Okay, cool, Color Pencil. I appreciate it. I'll check it out. And thank you. What if we get bombshell evidence once his parents pass and Bert comes out and he's like this? He's like, look, y'all, now that my parents are gone, I'm going to be honest with you. Dad did it. You know what I'm saying? Or mom did it. You know what I'm saying? So, snow flurries at Derek's. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's cold here. So, Nancy, I did not meet him, but I saw him numerous times. It seemed like everywhere we went, he was there, right? And he just is kind of like hanging out, standing around, like very seemed like a normal dude with his. He had, I think it's, I don't know if he's married to her. And Jenny says people think it is Bert. I know, right? Because Derek and I were talking, and we were almost like, even like, okay, so like pretend like you could go behind the scenes and figure out. Um, it would say it was like, okay, hands down, it was Burke or whatever. It would only behoove him to come out and say, well, one of my parents did it, to take the attention off of himself, right? Um, so there's so many layers to it, right? I go back and forth from a lot. I oftentimes think it was simply plain and simple the most easiest thing of an intruder, right? And then from there, I start going back and forth where I'm like, but the letter, and then the this, and then the that, right? And then I go from there to something happened and they knew, meaning the parents, but you see, buckle up. My word. I could pee in my pants. I just peed in my pants. That's not me. I shut down. I officially malfunctioned. Okay, here it is. Y'all, this is for real, y'all. This is for real, y'all.
Like,
oh, scared me to death. I'm talking. This is where. How do you say it, y'all? How does it go? Where the rubber meets the metal, where the pedal meets the metal. How's that saying go? Or where the rubber meets the sidewalk? How does that go? Is it pedal to the metal or metal to the pedal? These are the things we ponder. I stopped following Chrissy to that thought, but I did, Chrissy. I came back. Rubber meets the road. Where the rubber meets the road. Now, what's the pedal to the metal? Rubber meets the road. Now, is that meaning where the tire hits the road? I know y'all are like, oh my God, seriously. But let's get philosophical now. Pedal to the metal. Has anybody ever heard pedal to the metal? Or is it metal to the pedal? Balls to walls. I get you that one. I do believe Veronica Sarah's going to speak. Rubber meets the shoulder pad. This is where the shoulder meets the pad. Put the pedal to the metal. And does that mean that the pedal to the metal means you're pushing the gas pedal all the way down? Okay, cool. Foot to the floor. Pedal to the metal means full speed ahead. Aye, aye, Captain. Oh, legend. I know, right? They're trying to censor Paul. 100%. What is all the beeping? I think I'm malfunctioning. Do y'all hear that? So I've got my second Starbucks of the day. What is it I ordered, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. This is a venti Americano with 2 pumps of sugar-free vanilla syrup, light cream, and 2 Splenda. Oh, she's going to be in a jumpsuit, I think. It's a mic muted. So right now, obviously my mic's not muted, but the court one is. They're just kind of setting up. Once they come on, I'm going to mute my... One of the court things, there's volume to it, but there's obviously nothing happening. They're getting ready. This is so exciting, y'all. I shouldn't be this excited, y'all. Jesus, is anyone else going to miss her? Literally. Oh, thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. And Jackie says, Paul, what's your guess on how many years she'll get? I'm thinking 30 some. I'm thinking 30 some. Anything less in the Judge of the Saint? Anything more? He's an angel. All right. Yeah, what if she shows up in a ball gown? Yeah, what is it in Florida? Is it 85% in Florida? Thank you, Brenda. It has been fun following this case with y'all. So, hot pants and a tube. Oh my gosh, y'all are killing me. It'd be the pure comedy that's coming. I want to hear if his family, meaning George, has something to say. Now I want a Pop Tart. Oh, y'all know what I got at the grocery store while we're waiting? I got stuff to make low fat chili in the crock pot. Can't wait. I'm gonna do it after this, but I got stuff to do here. Also, December 7th, which is Saturday, I'm not sure what time, she's going to put it out. Gigi, aka Pretty Lies and Alibis, is hosting several creators. I'm going to be on there. And we are going to be talking to Shayna, you might recognize her from the chat room here. Her and another lady who wrote a book one of the jurors from the Alec Murdaugh trial are going to be on there answering questions, that kind of thing. So if y'all have any specific questions, I'll make a post. And if y'all have any specific questions, we can go through and ask when we're on there. And then obviously I'll put it out if y'all want to come, like, absolutely join and hang out. If you don't follow Gigi Pretty Lies and Alibis, you need to. She's wonderful. She's great. She has a totally good vibe. She's on Court TV a lot of times. I can't remember if she does Court TV or Long Crime or both, but she's, a face on there. Very, very nice. Doesn't live too far from here. What would y'all do if they brought her out in Hannibal Lecter stuff? And she was like, by the way, Mr. Owens, love your shoes. Like if she went full Hannibal Lecter. She tried to get all philosophical and like read somebody the way Hannibal Lecter can. You can't read somebody the way Hannibal Lecter does, right? Oh God, yes. What would you do if, when the family read it out, they were very professional and nice in the victim impact statements, but they all referred to her as the White Devil. It's just a very professional way. I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, maybe not. The blue-eyed white dragon. Seriously? She come out with a spit mask. Looking, yes, 3-point back. Shannon says, the White Devil, the 3-point back killed me. It does every time. Sarah, I don't know if she understands. And again, here's the thing. I don't want to take away from at the center of this is obviously, George is dead, right? She killed him. So I don't want to take away from that. But sadly, Sarah knows. I don't know how to say it. I don't know if she I can't believe I'm using that word. If she intentionally knows the comedic timing. You know what I'm saying? But she has this unintentional, dare I say it, comedic timing to anything she does. Because some of it's just like, is she serious? Vicky says, and thank you, Vicky. Sarah's statement. First, I'd like to thank my fans. Oh, get ready for a welcome nominee, award acceptance speech. 100%. I just had, okay, y'all, do you know what I just had? After leaving the gym, I've had, okay, what do you call it? What are those sticks that you get? It's a beef. It's yellow packaging. You get it at the checkout. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that is, I can't remember the name of it. The brand name of it. It's like beef jerky, but the brand name. Anyways, that, 3 bags of pop chips, 3 pickles, 2 scoops of peanut butter. Oh my God. Oh my God. She is happy to be there. Slim Jim, thank you. She is happy to. Okay, hold on. Nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Please hold. Okay. Has she lost weight? She goes, "Oh, I'm a little cold. Can I get something? My headlights are on." You see, she's in her little jail uniform. Can I get a little cardigan? I know you're pregnant. I might be. And I could just keep on going. He's like, now this is how it works. She's like, oh, like that comment. That commenter's been really doing. What would y'all do if we looked and he was watching one of my videos? I would die. That's my greatest fear. What would you do if she did have some makeshift jailhouse shoulder pads? He's like, now this is how it works. She's like, no, my name is spelled wrong here. Okay, now let's see. Okay, now this looks like, is this his family? Think so. Is that his daughter over there? I can't tell. Oh, God. He's like, here you go. He's like, basically, most likely you're screwed. Boys, boys. Hey, Sarah's about to come on. Even the boys are riled up. Oh. He's watching them on TV. He's watching our chat. He's like, watch, I'm going to super chat him. Wouldn't that be so weird? Boys, boys, Sarah's about to speak. Lou. Lou. I'll mute it in a second, don't worry. Boys, come here. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, they are wound up. Is she talking? The lawyer's over. See the lawyer over here. Oh, maybe they're looking at her speech. What if they're looking at her speech? Hear me? Looking at her speech. Listen to me, I'm so loud. Yeah, they do sound like those toy doggies, right? They can censor evil. One thing that makes me think of in here is that she doesn't want to come off as shamed or hurt or anything like this because it's like narcissistic abuse. Oh wait, Isabel says, thank you for the update, Isabel. Isabel says, Komorowski pled guilty. Sentence is yet to come, so it wasn't a plea. She might have thrown herself at the judge. Annie says, rumor from the judge, she thinks she's going home today. Oh my God. Is she is that delusional? Oh, thanks, EM. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me while you do your makeup. So, yes, to me, and again, I'm not a doctor or lawyer, fancy stuff like that, but just if you've ever dealt with any kind of narcissist or a person like that or egomaniac, whatever you want to call them, she's not going to let us know that she's scared. She's not going to let us know that she has to take ownership of the situation. She's going to be smiling. She's going to be doing this and that. Boys. Oh, they're happy. Oh, thanks for being a member, Miranda. Thanks for being here. So, yeah, she's going to try and just take ownership over this. Jenny Jenny says, hold on, it's got, hold on, let me go find it. Jenny says she's full narcissist to her grizzled core. Lauren, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a member for so long. Oh, I'm screaming over that one, Jenny. Wait, oh, hold on. Hey, everybody, just join in. I know they do sound like those little wind-up toys. Hey, Weedy, thanks for being a member for 8 months. Woo! I'm glad you're here, too. The boys are riled up. This is celebration day. They're talking. Luke's over here talking about. I just used 5-year-old coupons. Didn't even have to get the manager involved. And Bo's like, well, guess what I did? Bo's like, I didn't even walk up in there with a damn coupon. I talked about. I saw some coupon talking about 50 off. If they. Oh, here we go. My running joke is the boys fight. Thanks, Mama P, for being a member for 9 months. Owens is like, I'm done. I quit. You know the judge is going to party his butt off. Like it is 1999. Thanks, Shaylee, for being a member for 4 months, and I agree. I hope he throws the book out. I'm very curious to see what he does. Very curious. Bo and Luke are going to party. Look at her over there. She got a little bit of that bedhead going on. This is probably her grand speech right here. Oh, she's got her post-its. She's got her post-its, y'all. She's got a slew of post-its. I mean, who is she? I'd be scared to turn around. But again, she wants to be intimidating. She wants to take ownership. She's like, hey. Who is she snickering at? She's so fascinating to watch. Like, oh yeah, she's having fun. This is like going out to a fancy restaurant for her. She's in front of the cameras. Hey, Nefertiti. Hold on, let me go back up. I made it. I finally have it. Sarah, so suitcase on this right. That's cute. I appreciate it. I hope you've been doing well. It's good seeing you. I mean, what's going on now? Yeah, Yeah, we got a lot of people from all over the world in here today. I hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's warm and snuggly, and or if it's cool in your neck of the woods, I hope you're cool. Or I mean, if it's hot in your neck of the woods, I hope you're cool. Yeah, I heard she has a girlfriend, and maybe that's who she's turning around and smiling at. She's like, "You're not gonna believe this, Owens." What? Okay. Why would you tell me that, Sarah? Because I'm like, well, I'm gonna be honest there, Sarah. That does kind of intrigue me. She's like, do you know how much ad revenue I'm generating right now? She's like, psst, Owens, Owens, what? Are you wearing boxers or briefs? Sarah, I told you. Good Lord, don't be asking me that here at the table. Lord, you're gonna get me fired. But I'm not wearing nothing since you asked, baby. Oh God, y'all, I can't. I gotta just, I'm sorry. He's like, look, I'm gonna draw you a picture right here, baby. Look at the judge while I get to drawing. Yeah, I think they're blank sheets of paper. She's just. She's like, this right here is the most important part. They're blank pages, Sarah. No, they're not. It's all in my mind. Why do you have the pages? He's like, look, now I'm going to tell you something else, baby. I'm not wearing any socks. She's like, me neither. I'm barefooted under this table. I just think that they have a love affair going on. I'm sorry. Hey, Cloud, how's it going? Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Kelsey. Hey, Trish. Yeah, hey, Diva. Yeah, she doesn't. She's right. She is right in her zone. Please, how old? Do they mute? He's like, Miss Boone. Yeah, I think he calls her Miss Boone. It's like hey, Shayna, how's it going? They muted it again. The deputy's coming up. The deputy's like, I can't wait to get rid of her. Where are the boys? Boys, what are we? See, when it's quiet, I'm more nervous. So here she is. She's like, She's looking pouty. She was like, what? I'm wearing nothing under these clothes. Like I told you. Yes. Nothing. Who is she talking to? Oh, maybe it's a press person. Wampo says, Your Honor, and thank you, Wampo. The Post-its industry cannot go on without me. She single-handedly took them out of recession. Boys! What are your names? Bo, Luke, come here. What are we doing? What are we... Where's your brother? Go get your brother. Luke. I don't know if she's wearing her stun gun. She's trying to negotiate an article, a Facebook post about her or something for some ramen noodles. Thanks, Lauren, for gifting a membership. Because, oh, you know what? She's going to get shipped off to prison from county jail. I mean, in her world, she might be thinking she's going, hey. Oh, hey, Tammy. I hope work's going well. He's like, you are getting the chair. You are getting the chair. Okay? I will see to it. You will get fried. See, I'm going to show you what it looks like. So they put this little bag on your head. Have you ever seen Faces of Death? Okay, yep, that's what they do. So, yep, see, they're going to put this over your eyes. She's like, I thought I was just going to get maybe time served. No. Oh, no, you're going to the chair. Oh, yeah, you're going to shake around like this. It'll go quick. I mean, you know. Okay, Bush, thank you. He's like, here, let's look at this. You want to look at dirty pictures before you go? She's like, sure. There's the family over there. God bless them. Oh, thanks, Diva. Oh, man, I can't wait to hear the family talk. She is going to, you just said you forgot the sponge. Now, if you don't piss the guards off, you ever seen that movie Green Mile? He pretends to forget to put the water on it. Oh, it was rough. Here, let's look that scene up, okay? So the death sentence isn't possible, but I like cosplaying in my mind that the lawyer's messing with her and making her think she's going to get the death penalty. Yeah, see, now this is the part right here. See how he does this? And then he starts shaking. They didn't put the water on the sponge. That's what'll happen. Right there. Yep. But you'll be okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. You'll be okay. We'll put $20 on your books tonight for some ramen noodles. Yeah, Faces of Death was wild. I thought that stuff was real too. Can't convince me. Now nowadays, some of it I am like, how did you have the one where the sheriff gets? And now this turned out to not be real, obviously. Where the sheriff got ate by the alligator. That freaked me out so bad when I was a kid. Daniel says they can wet her shoulder, but she'll be just fine. Oh my gosh. She's going to miss the judge. So yes, I was born in 77. So yeah, just a few years difference. I know the one where the congressman shot himself, that was real. Can you imagine? Faces of Death was like pure smut. Like, I mean, I like you had to rent it, and it was like literally like warnings. Pardon me, all this kind of stuff. Oh, thanks, El Miller. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Pardon me. She's crossing those arms. She's over it. The judge is like, you can wait, girl. Drug this out for 5 years. He's like, I'm gonna eat my 8-piece. He's like, I'm gonna eat my damn 8-piece with some green beans and mashed potatoes. Take my time too. Yeah, Faces of Death definitely like absolutely triggered me. Lava haircut. Thanks, Miranda. She's pretending to look at the blank pages. Thanks, Jenny, and thanks for being a member and all you do. Jenny says, I hope she gets the suitcase instead of the chair. What if the judge did that? He was like 10 years in the suitcase. Imagine, like, I'm sure there's a Black Mirror episode about this somehow where it's like, say it was like the sentence you got was reflective of the thing you did. So he was like, okay, look, you're going to be sentenced to 10 years in the suitcase. So basically what will happen is starting every day from 8 to 5, we are going to put you in the suitcase. Like, make it somewhat normal. So it's like after 5 o'clock, you'll sleep in your bed and all that. But from 8 to 5, every day, we're going to curl you up in this suitcase. And here we go. Thank you, K. Bush. And yes, Clockwork Orange was amazing. Okay, I'm going to mute myself and I'll type in the chat room and stuff like that. If it's major, I'll unmute and talk. Now, for those that are asking or going to ask, the people who sit behind him are usually his students or people from the college that he teaches at. Hey, Lost Ronan. I was just over in Hillsboro. All was well over there. He's like, haul her out. Get it out, is what he is saying. His hair looks a little different, doesn't it? Oh, thanks, Melania. Melanie, I'm sorry. It almost looks like he either was dyeing it and doesn't anymore, or he's gone platinum. He's like, blondes just have more fun. Yeah, his hair looks lighter, doesn't it? Or is it just me? He's very handsome. Okay, here we go.
Calling State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603, State.
Chief Cacciatore on behalf of the state.
Defense.
William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table. Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand, Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Ma'am, can you state your full name and date of birth for the record for us?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-77.
We are here for a sentencing. The jury returned a verdict on October 25, finding you, Ms. Boone, guilty of murder in the second degree. We are running a little bit late this afternoon. I apologize for that. I was in court all morning and took the opportunity to review all of your submittals from earlier this morning, Mr. Owens, including the victim or the character statements, the psychological evaluation by Dr. Harper, the motion for downward departure, the motion for new trial, and the state's response to same. Before we proceed with any sentencing in this matter, the court needs to address the defendant's motion for new trial and the state's response to the defendant's motion for new trial. Anything in addition you'd like to argue at this time, Mr. Owens, over and above what is contained in your motion, sir?
No, sir.
State.
No, sir.
All right, after reviewing the motion and the state's response to same, the defendant's motion for a new trial is denied. Based on the court's review of the record, the court's participation in the trial, and the review of all the evidence, of the court's prior findings and rulings at trial and prior thereto. With that, I believe that we're prepared to proceed with sentencing at this time. The court has reviewed the pre-sentencing investigation prepared by the Department of Corrections. Are there any housekeeping matters that we need to address, Mr. Jay or Mr. Cacciatore, before we proceed?
Not from the state.
Are there any housekeeping matters from your side of the ledger, sir, that we need to address, Mr. Owens?
Judge, I do have 4 lay witnesses.
Of course there is.
And we've got Dr. Harper here to testify. Of course, my client's going to testify. But one of the 4 lay witnesses wants to appear by Zoom. She lives up in Minnesota. I don't know if that's allowed.
We don't have an objection to that. One of our witnesses will be providing an impact statement, would also like to appear on the court's virtual link as well.
Okay, so stipulated. If you need it, just let Anita know, and I could have her email it to you right now, the link.
We do have the link. She's waiting to get on, I guess.
Who might it be, sir? Several people.
It should be Lana Albert.
She is here, sir. She's in the, she's viewing, her camera's off and she's.
He's instantly annoyed with him,
microphone-
as he should be.
She's in the lobby. All right, with that, State, you may proceed.
Your Honor, at this time, we would like to take an impact statement from, I believe, Anna Torres, which you will be appearing virtually.
I see several guests, but I do not see a Anna Torres in the virtual lobby, sir.
Well, I think while maybe she's having some issue logging on, we have also in-person witnesses.
We can proceed with those first, sir.
We would call Lana Torres.
Here we go.
Please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
My name is Blanca Torres.
Okay. Ma'am, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I just want to tell Sarah Boone that I don't hate her for what she did. And I always remember that evening when that lady came into my door and she knocked at the door. And she asked for my name. I said, I tell her my name. And then she said, can I come in? I said, okay, yes. And she told me to sit down. I never think that was going to be my son. And then she said my son was dead. Since that day, I can't sleep. It's hard for me to remember that moment. My son is not here no more. She don't only kill my son, she killed a father, a brother, an uncle. It's been hard on my family because all the brothers, they will always work together. But now it's like something real. Love is missing. Sometimes when I look out the window, I'm waiting for him to come and say, Mom, I love you. She was always there. She called me. I missed us, Mommy. The last time that I talked to him was at 12 o'clock in January, New Year. He came to my bed and said, Mom. He woke me up and I said, Mom, I love you. Happy New Year. Since that day, I don't see him no more. It was my son. I love him. And I miss him a lot, and my family miss him a lot too. But I don't hurt her. But you know what? I was blessed. She ain't gonna be blessed like me because I have my son. I raised him. I have his children, my granddaughter, my grandson, and she don't gonna be able to have that. And I did. I raised him. He wasn't perfect, but he was a good son. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. State anything further from this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No, sir.
Thank you. You may call your next victim impact statement.
Victoria Torres.
I do.
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Victoria Torres. My name is Victoria Torres. George is my brother. Unfortunately, my family has experienced two horrifying tragedies. I just want to make it clear that George deserves justice. As far as my other brother and Sarah deserve to rot in jail. Sarah has caused a lifetime of pain, a lifetime of horrible images, a lifetime of hearing my brother George plead for his life. This is just this moment for all of you. For me and my family, it's forever. Such a simple thing as using a suitcase is so triggering. I try not to close it all the way. I leave at least like 2 or 3 inches for the zipper. And it might sound crazy, but it just helps me. She really has flipped my family's life upside down. And I just hope that we can truly get justice for my brother And I just want to tell the team thank you so much for everything they did. Thank you.
Thank you. State anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense? Thank you.
Your Honor, could we see if Ms. Anna Torres has been able to make it online?
Do not see an Anna Torres in the lobby, sir. I have lots of guests, HHSA, Mr. Beck, Lana Albert, Jason Gunn.
Your Honor, is there a cap to the link as to the number of individuals?
Not to my knowledge.
Could we just have just a moment?
Yes.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking statements they're made. But that's the reality of the case. You know what I'm saying? And Sarah just sitting there like a damn lump on a log. And just the debacle that she put the family through for years. And then wants to come in here smiling and smirking on sentencing day. Okay. Y'all throwing daddy's shoes up? Is that what's going on? Okay. What could she possibly say? I mean, if I imagine following that up now as her, but she doesn't. She's blind to it. You know what I'm saying? Like in her world and Sarah's world, she's the victim. She's right. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I think the judge, y'all, I think he's going to throw the book at her. What that means, I don't know, right? I think this is a very fair judge. I don't think he's going to give her the end all be all of the sentence simply because he's already made comments about, you know, this is her, no priors, like that kind of thing. But I think he's going to take into consideration she put this family through misery for 5 years. In addition to what they did. Okay, what's this? Is he coming up to... Okay, never mind. Bo, come on. Or, yeah, Bo. Yeah, Upstate says 50 years would be life for Sarah completely. What's he saying? Is the state saying something? Thanks, Jackie, and I agree. I think Sarah is allowed to speak. If she'll take that opportunity to do so, I don't know. I figured she was. Wow.
Statutory.
Oh, wait, here we go.
I'm speaking with Mr. Owens, given the fact that the victim's daughter is having difficulties with.
Is that her, Anna Victoria Torres?
Yes, sir.
Is that it? Is that who it is? All right, ma'am, good afternoon. Can you hear us?
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
Okay, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Anna Victoria Torres, ANAVICTORIA TORRES.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I understand that you'd like to provide a statement to the court at this time. You may proceed.
Okay. Okay. So I'll be speaking for myself and my two siblings. The murder of our father has impacted us on so many levels and in different ways. I myself, for the first year, would wake up screaming every morning or night, wishing I was having a nightmare, only to wake up to remember all over again that my father is gone and I'll never be able to hear him say he loves me ever again. To know my siblings have been affected in such a way that they are now different. They have had a piece of their heart ripped away from them, all while her son gets to hear his mother's voice and see her alive is pathetic. Because of you, Sarah, my sister is heartbroken. Because of you, Sarah, my brother is left wondering when he will ever see his father again. The loss of my father has left me with chronic depression and anxiety. Seeing any moments of fatherly love or kindness being shown between others in real life or even on TV leaves me in complete shambles. Seeking therapy was a must in order to navigate through my workday without a random breakdown. Thoughts of my father's demise still enter my mind ever so often. I'm left either angry, sad, or sick to my stomach to think of how his final moments were. George Torres, my incredible father. Not only was he my father, but my best friend. My personal comic provided me with wisdom and knowledge, creative and loving dad, an older brother, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, a son, and above all, our father. He was human and deserved to be treated as such. My father, George Torres, was one of a kind, an absolute gem. Unfortunately, his light was dimmed on earth by evilness, but with us, we will forever make his name live on. Especially Sarah, I pray that you see his face when you see him at night. That is it.
Thank you. Anything further, state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further of this witness?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, ma'am. State.
Thank you.
Anything further?
No other impact statements, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other witnesses or evidence at this point in time, state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Owens, you may proceed, sir.
Ms. Diane Smith,
Here we go.
41.
I have no issue with her being at the podium. If you want to move about the well to conduct your examination, that's fine, counselor. Ma'am, come on up. Come on up to this podium right here, ma'am. If you could, raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Ma'am, could you state and spell your name for the record for us, please?
Diane Smith, D-I-A-N-E-S-M-I-T-H.
Okay, thank you very much. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Ms. Smith, tell the court a little bit about you.
I was a chaplain at the 33rd Street Jail for 30 years.
And have you been a chaplain at the jail here in Orange County?
Yes, Orange County Jail
Is it the same
for
jail
30
you're
years.
referring to? Okay. And during that period of time, did you have occasion to meet with Sarah Boone?
I did.
And was it over the course of how long?
I've known her 4 years.
And if you could, tell the court what you'd like to say.
Okay. Well, I first met Sarah. She came in. We have a Christian dorm, and Sarah enrolled in our Christian program. And she was in my classes for a year. And she was very sincere in her efforts to change her life and to be a better person. And I found her very helpful. She was kind and good to people. She loved to serve. And she helped the new girls that would come in, the younger girls. She would mother them and be very kind and very helpful. And then after she graduated from the program, I was her counselor for the other 3 years. And I always found her very sincere and, trying to do better. I spoke with many inmates that knew her and was associated with her. And they spoke very highly of her and said that, she was helpful and kind and tried to help other people. And I just found her to be, very sincere and trying to be a very good person and change and help people.
Was the Bible involved at all?
Oh, yes, it was all spiritual. Yes, it was spiritual growth plus character, growth in character, trying to just be a better person in general. She liked to serve other people, she would help the girls wash their clothes and show them around and teach. But spiritually, she grew very, very great spiritually.
Thank you.
Hang on, ma'am, just one second.
Ma'am, Ms.
Hang on
Smith?
just one second, Ms. Smith. State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, ma'am, I appreciate you.
I'm talking cringe.
Christina Pena?
She'd help wash the clothes,
Yeah, it's fine, counselor, thank you.
scrub the toothbrushes. Lots of spiritual growth.
Ma'am, come on up. If you can't
This
raise your hand,
room
Madam Clerk's gonna go ahead and
is
start you.
clear.
Are affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yeah.
Ma'am, if you could state and spell your name for the record for us.
Christina Pena, Christina Pena.
All right, you may inquire, sir.
Ms. Pena, how old are you?
31,
And where do you live?
Orlando.
Now, it's my understanding, Ms. Pena, that you were in the county jail with Sarah Boone.
Yes.
How long were y'all in the same cell together?
Yes, I was in there for 4 years, but we were together for 3.
Okay. And I understand ultimately the charges against you were dismissed? And so you were released on what day?
April 4th this year.
2024?
2023.
2023. So you've been out for a pretty while.
I've been out for like 6 or so months now. Yeah, since April
Okay.
of this year, actually. Sorry.
April of 2024. And you said y'all were bunkmates there together for about 3 years?
Yeah.
I would assume that y'all got to know each other pretty well.
We did.
Okay. And if you could, if you'd like to speak on her behalf to the judge.
Yes. Sarah's one of my best friends, my only.
You take your time.
She's helped me a lot. Spiritually and like growing and she helps everybody. She's always, I don't know, she helped me a lot, and she would come to me, she'd talk to me all the time and pick me up when I was down, or if I didn't know something, she's good. I don't know, she was a good person to me. She just...
This is bad, y'all.
She always helped people. She was always helping everybody in the dorm. She, even like her artwork, she did art. If anybody needed any help or needed anything, they'd come to her and she'd help them. And even if they, did wrong to her, she would still go back and help them and praise with them and pray over them and everything. It's just.
And was she a little bit older than you?
Yeah.
How much older was she?
40, in her 40s.
Did you think of her as maybe an aunt or a big sister? What was
Big sister, yeah, she was like a big sister. It's like a sister I never had. Because I have brothers, so I never, we clicked right away, I don't know. We'd be walking out in the backyard and she just would always try and talk to me, but I'm a quiet person and I don't trust a lot of people. So for me to open up and trust somebody, it's a lot, so.
And obviously y'all were there under difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
She assisted you in getting through that?
Yes, and she helped me a lot with my my case, and I would help her with, with hers too. We're both, justice is not what it is. I don't know how.
Bless you.
We both helped each other out. I don't know.
Ms. Danielle, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any questions, State?
Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
y'all. That was painful.
Ms. Hill?
Like she fumbled her way through that. I don't know, like helped, like did stuff. Like, yeah, helped. I don't know, like big sister helped. Why do they always do artwork? Okay.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
My name is Mariela Hill, Mariela, last name Hill, Hill.
Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
Ms. Hill, briefly tell us a little bit about yourself.
I met Sarah in jail. I spent 3 months in jail and went through a lot of unfortunate circumstances myself.
All right, now this was in the Orange County Jail here in Orlando?
Orange County Jail.
And when would that have been? Do you recall the dates?
Yes, it was April, from April to June of this year.
Of this year,
2024.
2024.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And did you develop a relationship with Sarah Boone over the course of that 3 months?
Yes, yes. We met when I was moved to the B dorm, and I needed help with a form that I needed to complete, and one of the COs pointed to Sarah to help me out. And since that moment, we became really good friends, and she was so helpful, so kind, so respectful, and loving, not just to me, but to everyone. And I have nothing but good things to say about her, her character, her loving heart, and how deep her faith is, her faith in God, and believing in justice for everyone. So that's what I believe.
State, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hill. I appreciate it.
She smiled at Sarah. She was like, is that what you wanted me to
Good
say?
afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me? This is Judge Cranick. And if you can, I would ask you to turn on your camera and unmute yourself at this time, please.
This is so bad.
Sir, how do I unmute my or turn on my camera? I know how to unmute, but I'm not sure how to turn the camera on.
Turn the volume down.
Tori says, yes, yes, the deep face.
So, ma'am,
Is that better?
when you join the link, there should have been an option for like a pull down on the left-hand side of the screen for you to open out or turn on a camera. I don't know what device you're appearing on, if it's a cell phone or a laptop.
It is an iPhone. Should I try to re-enter the room?
Yeah, try to do that. There should be an option for you to pick a camera.
Oh my gosh.
And you'll either select the default camera, and hopefully we'll be able to see you at that time.
Okay, let me just give me 1 second.
The technical difficulties, not just in this one, but in all these cases. Oh my God. This is why the aliens don't mess with us, right? If they came down here from like Mars or wherever, they would be like, yeah, we're good. I mean, we're still over here talking about flying cars. We can't, the court system's never even got the audio or the Zoom thing's figured out. I mean, this is just very telling. Sarah, I mean, oh, I'm sorry. Here's the thing, people are talking about, oh, she was helpful, she was this. She was in jail. There was nothing else to do.
Does that work? Can you see me?
I cannot.
Shoot.
Just-
It's saying default camera. It's saying front camera. I chose it. It didn't show my face or anything like that.
Just send an email. This could have been an email.
State?
I have no objection to the witness making their statement here telephonically.
Okay, appreciate it. All right, Miss.
Just.
Good afternoon. If you could just state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Certainly. Lana, Lana, Albert, Albert.
Okay. All right, Mr. Owens is going to ask you some questions.
Yeah, what if she had people calling from their jail cells on the tablets?
Miss Albert.
I'm calling from cell block 8.
Yes, I just did. I can't hear you very well when I do that, though.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but very, very quietly.
How about now?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I okay?
Yeah, you sound a lot better. You were too loud earlier.
Okay,
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right, Miss Albert, tell the court a little bit about yourself briefly.
Well, I live in Minnesota. I currently have end-stage renal disease. Before I became disabled, I was a business owner in the Twin Cities here.
All right, and how old are you?
I am 50 years old.
All right, and you're considered disabled?
Yes, I am.
All right, and have you had an occasion since this event to establish a relationship with Sarah Boone?
Yes, I have. We have been friends for the past a little over 11 months.
And how do y'all communicate?
We've communicated a lot of phone calls, lots of tablet back and forth, and a lot of letters as well. I'd say many, many, many hours of time spent with each other.
All right, and do you want to speak on her behalf here today?
I would, please.
All right, would you please tell the court what you would like for the court to know?
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Your Honor, for the privilege of speaking on behalf of my friend Sarah Boone. I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to everyone here affected by this terrible tragedy, which has brought us all here and listening in. Many, many articles and videos and opinions of Sarah have gone out in the airways and on the webs. Opinions that have been formed and commented on so much that it's hard not to give into the temptation to treat people like a comic book or a fictional character. In the case of my friend Sarah, the words narcissist, Karen, villain, many other things, they roll off the tongue with little regard to the humanity that is dismissed so flippantly. And under a lot of circumstances, I was one of those people, as I have a love of true crime. And becoming friends with Sarah has shown me that there's a lot more depth to the people I see on the screen. I'd like to share with the world and with the court about the Sarah Boone that I know. Sarah Boone is a kind, honest, and good person. The Sarah Boone I know is one who loves animals, especially the kind who are damaged and defenseless. How many of us would take in and pour love for a hearing-impaired and a sight-impaired pair of dogs? She has a natural instinct to help reach out and give of herself. Her time and energy and love, especially to those who are hurting or damaged. You all have seen her fight for her own life and truth here. I tell you this, she fights even harder for those she loves, giving time, attention, and companionship without a single thought for her own gain or what somebody can do for her. And one huge example is in the matter of our friendship. As I said before, I have end-stage renal disease caused by a genetic illness called polycystic kidney disease. As my life has progressed, things I have taken for granted have been taken away from me. I could not appear in court in person because I can no longer walk, as my dialysis treatments have affected the circulation of my legs and has confined me to a wheelchair. To say that my life has radically changed is an understatement. Through it all, I have many friends and family I love and cherish. Sarah has distinguished herself differently in this way. In the course of getting to know her, I started sharing the progressing state of my health. It was like lightning had struck her. The moment Sarah had learned the depth of my struggles health-wise, she straight up offered strenuously to donate a kidney to me. I got to tell you this. I hope she's not mad for me showing this, but she had no hesitation, no concern over personal risk or personal gain. I want to convey to this, out and around the world, that is merely offering is a good and heroic act. I've had many friends. I've not had one outside of my brother who has offered me a kidney. That is huge. I don't have anything of equal value to give to her. And that's not the actions of a narcissist. She did it as a reflex action, as a good person. After the verdict came in October, we spoke that night, and I hope Sarah doesn't get mad at me again for disclosing this, but out of all the shock and seriousness of what had happened in the court, the thing that made her emotionally break was that she realized she could no longer be a donor to me. I mean, I was sitting there like, hey, you know, it's going to be okay. But she was so broken up, she couldn't help me. That's a friend. She is not, nor does she come up anywhere remotely close to being a narcissist. Now, one more thing before I go. Social media has worked to rip the blindfold off of Lady Justice, to take the sword out of her right hand and start assassinating Sarah's character. However, the scales are the balance. As it says in Psalm 85, mercy and truth are met together. Righteousness and peace have kissed each other. Justice isn't justice without mercy. Our pursuit of righteousness isn't complete and right without peace. Thank you, Your Honor, for the honor of speaking for my friend Sarah Boone. I hope that your justice is mixed with mercy here today. Thank you.
State, any questions? No, Your Honor. Any follow-up, Mr. Owens?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so about that, going on and on
Dr. Harper?
about how Sarah's not a narcissist.
On the stand.
On the stand?
No, she can be right now. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Barb. Sounds like what she told you. Probably. Okay, here we go. That's just, I cannot, y'all. I want to talk about, I hope Sarah doesn't get mad. Sarah couldn't give that kidney away. That kidney shot. That thing's been doing overtime for years, honey. You don't want that thing. It's not going to work. Sarah knew that. She was never going to get that kidney.
If you could, doctor, state and spell your name for the record for us, please.
Dr. Julie Harper, Julieharper.
All right, thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
And Dr. Harper, we all know we were here. The judge knows quite a bit about your testimony, but if you could, I know that you prepared a report, and we have submitted that to the court, which the court has read, and the state has a copy. And I don't know if you want to refer to that or just speak on your own about Sarah Boone and what you did to assess her, and then any opinions that you want to express.
All right. I think that during trial testimony, I reviewed all of the documents, excuse me, and all of the records that were available. They're documented in my report as well. In addition to the forensic clinical interviews that I conducted, I also have had the opportunity to talk to her brother, Philip Paulson, in the interim since the trial, and I included his information in my report as to her family background.
If you could, give the court a synopsis of what your findings are, and what you uncovered maybe from the brother, whatever you think the court needs to hear this relevant material to his decision in this case.
So referring to the summary section of my report, I'll keep it a brief, but I'll outline the highlights that I feel like haven't been conveyed before, which is an understanding of Ms. Boone's early family life, in that she is the middle child of her parents' union, and that her parents did not have a happy marriage. They didn't provide an opportunity to have a good role model as to how to have a partnership together. Ms. Boone was born in close proximity to her youngest brother, 11 months apart, and in my clinical experience and training, I would say that disrupted her attachment with her mother, some being close in proximity with her younger brother, whose temperament just seemed to suit a relationship with her mother better than her own. So ultimately, Ms. Boone bonded with her father, though he wasn't described by either child as an affectionate person. He was somebody that was there for her at sporting events and more of a primary parent for her in that way. His untimely death by heart attack during her high school years was marked by her brother as a turning point for her in how she was acting at home, her demeanor, her relationship with her mother took a turn for the worse as she was not coping well. She was using substances based on what her brother was saying. And it is my opinion that that early lack of foundational relations with her mom and not feeling very secure, the death of her father, destabilized her. That's a period of your life when you're leaving high school, when you should have formed a very solid foundation to go out in the world. And I don't think that that's what she had at that moment. She bonded easily with Mr. Boone, and you can see that there are elements of that early difficulty with her relationships because she took on a parentified role, in my opinion, during that relationship. And therefore, there's a power imbalance in that she was making decisions and not, again, having an equal relationship. I think that that led her to a sense of being a need to be right, a need to feel like she is the one that's making good decisions, to have some ego support by being in the right all the time with Mr. Boone. And I think that that led to some behaviors that she carried over into her relationship with Mr. Torres, in that she's parentified around him and acting more like a parent-child relationship, being a facilitator of housing and applications for jobs and things like that. So again, there's a power imbalance that I think was very seriously misaligned, as her brother and the property manager of their apartment had verified. They saw her being abused, physically abused in serious ways, or the effects of the abuse in bruising or calls to them. It is my opinion that she called for help, but when people got tired of her not leaving Mr. Torres, they stopped responding to those calls. And basically, Ms. Boone handled things on her own. And as other people with healthier boundaries probably would have left, she, being acting out the pattern of intimate partner violence, did not leave. She stayed long past when it would have been smart for others, or others would have said to leave, sorry. The undergirding of that not leaving the relationship is a long-term anxiety problem that became post-traumatic stress disorder. There is an earlier instance of exposure to traumatic stress in that she was the person in the hospital after her father died who found him having students perform CPR on his dead body. So that was an early exposure to high traumatic stress, witnessing that incident, and based on her brother's description, that was something that changed her. When a person is exposed to numerous compounding stressors, their adrenaline system is changed. It alters your body. And things that might be an otherwise neutral situation, you tend to have a cascading adrenaline response to that. And I think that that ultimately, for her, as she succumbed to other instances of serious physical abuse from her partner, became post-traumatic stress disorder. I do think that that is a condition that is still existent even while she's in jail. It's something that she needs treatment for because those triggers are unmitigated, meaning that she hasn't really had the kind of therapy to address them and reduce her adrenaline and anxiety responses when she thinks of past instances of traumatic events that have happened to her. You can also respond to post-traumatic stress disorder clinically by using antidepressant therapy, and that would be something that could assist her ultimately in reducing symptoms if she had counseling and antidepressant therapy.
Now, Dr. Harper, I know that you had testified in the trial that, in your opinion,
Thanks, Elizabeth.
battered spouse, the syndrome that is legally recognized in Florida, in the courts of Florida.
That's correct.
And I understand that is tied to this intimate partner violence, which is maybe the same thing, but there's a complex mental health issue that ties into that. Can you speak on the complexity of that whole cycle that one such as
Certainly. So intimate partner violence is not a diagnosis. It's a pattern of events that occur between two partners in which the power dynamic is altered by the physical abuse or behaviors that are controlling in nature to the point that someone's safety is threatened. It's common for victims of that to have a complex mental health condition, often including depression, anxiety, and substance abuse problems. And what might be substance abuse to cope with the problem, like numbing oneself, will sometimes result in its own diagnosis. The pattern of intimate partner violence, I think we covered in the trial, but just in summary about that, there are phases in which at first bonding of the two partners might be something positive. They've got something in common or have pleasurable time together. And then the secondary phase of that is when there is change in dynamic and some kind of traumatic event occurs, some instance of physical violence. And then there's a third phase in which it's like a honeymoon phase where they're trying to right the relationship. So in phase one, when they're having something pleasurable, the tone shifts. Phase two, there is some kind of incident. And phase three, there's a honeymoon phase. As that pertains to anxiety, I think that a person who suffers from intimate partner violence never stops experiencing that hypervigilance, waiting for the next instance of violence to occur. So even though they may look happy, they might be experiencing something positive, they've not really relaxed because their memory that that could or will occur again is still in their mind. So they haven't fully stopped experiencing intimate partner violence. It's just what phase of the process they're in.
Now, and Dr. Harper, it goes into more detail in your report, which I supplied to the court, which is a total of 11 pages, and I believe that's confidential.
That's what's been marked. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file.
Okay.
If it has, that's something if it needs to be, it's something we can address. I have reviewed it. It does reflect confidential privilege information on the first page. I don't believe it's been filed in the court file unless you did it. Okay. It already has been? All right, appreciate it. Okay, excellent. Thank you, sir.
And Dr. Harper, you're aware that the defense has filed a defendant's motion for downward departure.
Yes.
And we've listed several factors under paragraph 3, the capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and conform with the requirements of law or substantially impaired, that she requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance use or addiction, although you agree that she does suffer from alcohol use disorder.
So she has an underlying mental health disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I additionally diagnosed her with alcohol use disorder, which is separate.
But you agree she does require specialized treatment for a mental disorder that's not related to the substance use or addiction?
That's correct.
And you agree she's amenable for treatment?
Yes.
And you would agree that she acted under extreme duress in this unique homicide case?
Yes.
And you would agree that the uniqueness of the circumstances, the facts and circumstances surrounding the case, that the offense was committed in an unsophisticated manner?
Yes.
And it was isolated?
That's my understanding as well.
Other than she had the charge where both of them were charged at one time, and I think she had the strangulation allegation, the felony case that was ultimately dismissed when both of them were arrested.
She had a prior felony case. The facts are different, of course, than this particular case over here today.
Dr. Harper, I believe that's all the questions I've got, unless you would like to say if I've missed anything, of course.
No,
Okay, and if not, it's in the report.
yes.
Any questions?
Yes, may she take the stand so I can be quoting?
Yes, that's fine.
Well, here we are again.
In pages 1 and 2 of your report, you go through the sources of your information, correct?
Yes.
And that would include 8 interviews that you had with her from the course of August of 2020 through September of 2024, correct?
There were 9 interviews, but 8 dates of service are listed.
You You did the Miller Forensic Assessment of Symptoms Test, or MFAST.
That's right.
Inventory of Legal Knowledge, ILK.
That's right.
Clinician Administered PTSD Scale 5 examination.
Yes.
You consulted with her attorney.
Yes.
Videotaped interviews from this court case number of Sarah Boone, interview part 1 and 2, Abraham Moreno interview, Brandon Moats interview, Brian Boone interview, Juan Torres interview, and Melissa Sexton interview, correct?
Yes.
You reviewed the autopsy photos.
Yes.
You reviewed some of the digital forensic exhibits, including the Apple iPhone XS and a Samsung SMJ 327 T1 photographs from those 2 devices.
Yes.
You reviewed Bates stamped discovery pages 1 through 413.
That's correct.
The crime scene photos are photos of a scene taken on June 19th of 2020.
Yes.
Aspire Health records,
Yes.
and who do those pertain to?
Aspire Health records are for Sarah Boone.
Florida Hospital Medical Group records,
Yes.
and who do those records pertain to?
That is also for Sarah Boone.
And Aspire, is that a mental health treatment facility?
It has an emergency department record, but that would be the place where she was detained under the Baker Act.
And it is routine and common in the practice of forensic psychology or psychiatry to rely on the records of other such practitioners.
As a source of information, sure.
You reviewed the deposition of Dr. Tanya Warner.
I did.
You reviewed the trial testimony of Sarah Boone, Brian Boone, Dr. Michael Brannon, Dr. Tanya Werner, correct?
Yes.
The jury verdict form dated 10/25/24.
Yes.
Witness list notice of filing amended
Yes.
on this case. Records of Jorge Torres or George Torres involving case numbers 2019 MM 5114, a 911 call and PDF, case 2019 MM 7193, case 2019 MM 7193, Torres Public Records, case 2019 MM 7193, Torres Photos, Central Florida Primary Care Records, Advent Health Orlando Medical Records, correct?
Yes.
And those latter records that I just mentioned, those for Mr. Torres and not Ms. Boone, correct?
That's right.
Then you reviewed Sarah Boone written correspondence, Sarah's listing of domestic violence incidents, Sarah's writings regarding missing days of work and Baker Act, and a 74-page life story.
That's right.
And then case 2018 CF 10573, public records and photos,
Yes.
and a telephone interview with Melissa Sexton, the property manager, which you conducted on October 1st, 2024,
Yes.
and a telephonic interview with Philip Paulson, the defendant's brother, on November 26, 2024.
Yes.
Where has Ms. Boone been housed and living since February of 2020?
At the Orange County Jail.
And does the Orange County Jail provide mental health services to inmates?
It does.
And you already testified you would routinely, as a forensic psychologist, review records kept of psychological or psychiatric treatment of a patient or a client, correct?
Yes.
In this particular case, have you reviewed any mental health records generated by the Orange County Jail for Ms. Boone?
No, I have not had the opportunity to do that.
So for the last 58 months or so, if she was being seen by the mental health treatment staff at the jail, you have not reviewed those records.
That's correct.
And they are overseen at the jail, in the Orange County Jail, by a psychiatrist. Are you aware or not?
If the person's level of mental health intervention deems them eligible for psychiatry, then they will.
And any diagnosis or lack of diagnosis that they have had during the course of the last 58 months, you are unaware of because you did not review the records.
That's right.
I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect examination?
No, Judge.
All right, thank you.
One question. Dr. Harper, I didn't ask you to review those records, did I?
No.
Thank you.
Judge, I believe you said it at the very beginning that I had submitted several letters on behalf of Ms. Boone, and she didn't hear that, but I wanted her to be made aware.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't actually read those letters into the record, but you did read them.
I have reviewed them. They're in my binder here. How many do I have? Yes. Give me a second, I can tell you. I have,
He's having approved points.
I have 6 handwritten letters. First one is 1 page. Second one is 2 pages. Third one is 1 page. Fourth one is 2 pages. Fifth one is 2 pages. Sixth one is 2 pages. I have a typed letter from Diane Smith, the assistant chaplain. I have another typed letter from a Nicole Ray, a typed letter from a Stephanie L., a typed letter from Philip Paulson, a email from Lana Albert, 2 pages in length, and a 2-page email from a Danielle Parsons.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I would like to call Sarah Boone.
You may proceed.
You can take this.
Yes, please.
Y'all, here we go. She wanted receipts. She didn't believe him. Okay, here we go.
Ms. Boone, you can be seated. You've been previously sworn. You may inquire, sir.
For the record, just state your name again.
Sarah Boone.
All right. Now, this is unlike a trial, so you're allowed to speak in a narrative form, as well as I understand you have taken some notes or written a letter that you want to read from, and then you want to speak to the court after that.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and get started?
This is actually an edited version of.
Hold on a second.
I had a lot to say. I've had a lot of time to think about things, and I didn't really know how to put it on paper, and I didn't know how much I could say or how little I should say. So what I have here is, like I said, an edited version. But I would like to read the more important parts that I feel that everyone should know that wasn't said in my actual trial. And on top of what I have on paper, I have, this is just the tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg. So I wanted to read this, and then if I may, I would like to address everyone in my apology on top of my statement.
You may proceed, ma'am.
Kintu Sukuroi is a kind of Japanese ceramic style which means to repair with gold. In this tradition, when a ceramic piece breaks, an artisan will fuse the pieces back together again using liquid gold or gold dust lacquer. So rather than being covered up, the breaks become more obvious and a brilliant new piece of art emerges from the brokenness. It embraces flaws, weakness, and imperfections, and also teaches the essence of resilience. Every crack in a ceramic piece is a part of its history, and each piece becomes more beautiful because it has been broken. This is the wisdom of Kintu Sukuroi. In my wisdom and with all of my repairs, then, now, and ongoing, God is, has been, and will always be my artisan. All of my gold is forgiveness. This has held me together, made me shine brighter, and overcome the damage caused by George Torres, the Torres family, the justice system, Orange County Corrections Department, social media, scoundrel detectives, infamy, defamation, ongoing constitutional rights violations, second-degree murder, forced into being pro se. Just as gold is very precious, forgiveness is invaluable. Forgiveness is not an attempt to change or forget who, what, or how you've lived through to be so gold, but an act of grace, humility, and considerable self-compassion to be set free from sorrow. Withholding forgiveness denies your brilliance and adds even greater grief and deeper heartache. Irreparable cracks on top of the already that no one deserves, no matter the pain or disappointment, untruths or injustice. It doesn't matter, as the more broken you are, even though now different than before, you've become more outstanding and more extraordinary. Above all, when you let go of blame, misunderstandings, excuses, give up your anger and cease from resentment, this is forgiven. And when you forgive, you heal. And when you heal, you move forward. My goal begins with George Torres, and every time he slapped me, kicked, punched, spit on, raped, stabbed, choked, laughed at, pushed, pulled, dragged, whipped, tripped, stole from, lied, terrorized, threatened, humiliated, forced, degraded, made me cry. Every time he tried to end me, defeat, or destroy. I forgive George for beating me senseless, for trying to sleep because I had to go to work or my son's field trip the next day, for ruining my deceased family's heirlooms, traditions, and keepsakes, my son's furniture, destroying the television we watched together, for wrecking our townhome by breaking windows, punching holes in the walls and doors, ramming his entire body into glass doors, kicking in my front and back door over and over and over, for breaking or removing the locks from all of the doors and sometimes the knobs altogether, so I had nowhere to feel safe, including the sacred space of my son's room where he beat me bloody on his bed. For terrorizing and threatening my blind and deaf dogs by leaving the gate open I built to keep them safe, telling me he hoped I'd find their bloated dead body in the pond or scrape their remains off of the pavement, for kicking them off of the bed and throwing across the room because they were trying to protect me. For threatening to make me unrecognizable to my son by breaking all of the bones in my face, like his brother Moses did to him after he kept seeing all of the bruises from George beating me, like all of the times their father beat their mother. For all of the drunken rages and fist fights with so many neighbors when wandering into their apartments during hunting expeditions after I had escaped. For drowning me in liquor and wine because I didn't want to drink, causing me to urinate on myself, then butting the end of the bottle in my face, giving me 2 black eyes and a bloody nose. For making me experience what it is to be sodomized. Threatening to kill my friends and the neighbors when they checked on me to make sure I was alive and in one piece. For threatening to burn down our townhome and set my car on fire because I got a job. For holding me hostage on weekends my son was supposed to come over by keeping my keys around his neck, my phone in his crotch, and a butcher knife stuck in the middle of the table as a warning not to ask anything or try to leave. For stabbing me in the leg and not letting me call 911 for an ambulance or seek help, where I nearly bled to death until I concocted a lie to save him from being arrested. For destroying my phone with a hammer because my son called. For me experiencing ever being arrested, and after today, prison. For beating me almost blind, crushing my occipital lobe. For having me experience what it means to see stars, like in the cartoons, where a character has a tall lump on their head. I had that too, and many times. For dragging me downstairs by my hair in the middle of the night just to sit next to him. For taking my car driving drunk with my debit card to buy more alcohol while I slept, even after I kindly explained the importance of my car to take my son to school foremost, me to work, and he to his batterers intervention classes and probation officer meetings, where I would be forced to sit for hours in the parking lot waiting for him. For causing me so much trauma and pain, mentally, physically, emotionally, I had to be hospitalized more than once. For destroying my reputation and integrity, for my M for murderer scarlet letter, not letting me feel safe to live, talk to other people, spend time with my son, have a job, friendships, simply go to the bathroom with the door closed, or go to sleep soundly or comfortably. I forgive George for lying, for him trying in so many ways, so many times, to end me with his terrifying love. I also forgive the Torres family, his mother and father foremost, also his 2 ex-wives and daughters, all for knowing who George was capable of and has done in the past, his history of violence and where he learned it, then to keep turning a blind eye when I would ask for help.
All of his siblings, including Pharrell Torres, who is now on his way to prison for stabbing the mother of their baby in the side of her head. For everyone who knew what George was doing to me, sometimes how and when, but allowed and enabled. I forgive them for caring too late. I hope they all ask themselves while quiet and comfortable in bed at night the uneasy question, what could I have done to stop this from happening to both of them? And after all the times Sarah tried to, by asking for help from all of us and so many times. Another great contributor of my gold is social media, with its greed, insensitivity, deception, obvious exploitation, and advantageous gain from my criminal case as a whole, and for sentencing me by anticipation as a result of ignorance and hate, conjured and fabricated by the organized crime that is social media, which condemned me in the court of global public opinion since the beginning. My family law case is the new prey waiting to be picked apart and pillaged from me being made infamous by social media in my criminal case. It simply seems I cannot forgive and be forgiven and move forward. Social media has made me a pariah. It has caused great oppression and undeniable disadvantages, especially by broadcasting and manipulating my cases online. In my criminal case, as a result, my opportunities to be given a fair, proper, and uninfluenced successful conclusion was heavily depleted and poisoned. I forgive them. Also, all of the media tycoons for not having a life of their own, trying so desperately to make themselves seem so right by making me appear so wrong. Forgiveness for prejudgment, ridiculous theatrics, lies, making and taking blood money from my and others' misfortunes, accidents, and catastrophes. It's all over their hands and their keyboards. And even after all that's been said and done, theorized, hypothesized, scrutinized, and blasphemed, in my case, still no one knows me. In the end, I forgive myself for not choosing my life sooner, for not being more brave, vigilant, bolder, and outspoken, stronger, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, for being hopeless, desperate, simple-minded, weak, and inexperienced. I forgive myself for not realizing I was enduring a life of domestic violence and that the vicious cycle of never ends. I had nothing to compare to. I've never been hit by a man ever before in my life. I was raised hitting a woman was wrong and should never happen. No excuse. I forgive myself for not escaping permanently, for not fighting back sooner to save myself, my son, my dogs, home, and car. Having 20/20 hindsight thinking of everything I could have done differently or better to avoid the outcome. I think about this every day since. Also, of all the good days we had together, for him at least, while I was constantly in hyperdrive, high alert, and paranoid, making sure I did everything right all the time. If not, the great possibility I would be ended as George threatened me with so many times before. I forgive myself for falling in love with a monster, and no matter how grotesque he may become, I still loved him, hoped, and forgave. I tried breaking the spell so he wouldn't be a monster anymore. I saw who he was inside. George made me then, now, and always love him for all of his cracks also. We made each other our own brilliant pieces of art from the cracks and repairs. Unfortunately, not all cracks can be. In all of my forgiveness, George is my greatest lesson and will forever be a part of me. I think of him every day and still speak to him when alone on the rec yard. I ask his forgiveness and that he looks for me at the gates of heaven so I can tell him how sorry I am, endlessly, and that I never stopped loving him. In all of it and still. When I first came to jail, I put my mat under my bed and cried all day and all night for months, only falling asleep from being so exhausted with grief. I wrote him letters. I wrote his family and his daughters, apologizing for asking for their forgiveness. But due to fear that my life or sons would be jeopardized, I did not send. I am sorry. I cannot begin to fathom any of their grief and sadness. Please forgive me. Almost everything reminds me of him, seeing my stab wound every day especially. It truly reminds me that all I really did live through. George haunts me. He is everywhere. I believe because I do still love him, think of him, and miss his laugh the most. In my heart, I know he is with me and understands that this tragedy was not intentional. I hope everyone can, his family foremost. I didn't mean for this to happen. Please wholeheartedly know that, and always, I would never. Forgive me, George. Forgive me, Torres family. Forgive me, Judge Cranick. To the entire planet, please forgive me. I graciously and humbly ask for consideration, for forgiveness to be extended instead of judgment, for reconciliation and restoration for all of us to move forward. My apology is profuse and ceaseless. Allow me, please, to brush off the muck, wipe the blood off of my face, and fix the cuts in my skin. I ask for understanding in what really happened and for how long, for second chances, repentance, and redemption, to advocate for all domestic violence survivors, to help them overcome, heal, and still hope, always, to make their voices heard, to confidently walk with all of their scars on the outside and the inside, to help them not ever become a casualty of domestic violence as so many others, to stop the abuse and maltreatment before it's too late. There is always hope, and you can survive. In my soft-spoken conclusion, I ask this: would I be the darling mother, celebrated woman of the year, if it were I who died? How many daughters, mothers, sisters, aunts, grandmothers, nieces, and friends have been because they did? I am a survivor. Learn to do good, seek justice, rebuke oppressors, defend the fatherless, plead for the widow. Isaiah 1:17, all-encompassing, protect the abused.
Ms. Boone, is that the end of your written statement?
Yes.
Now, gathering your thoughts, did you want to make an oral statement?
I do.
All right, would you do that now?
Yes, please. My statement, my verbal statement, is primarily to the Torres family, to the judge, to his daughters. I know you all know who I really am, and that I did care for George, and that I do still love George. I know you know that we had very many good days, and I take offense to the statement of being said that this is just for a moment. Right now with me here in the courtroom in front of you all, this is just for a moment. But the moments before that, in order for me to be here, is endless. It's everlasting. The scars that I have on the inside, my outside scars have healed except for my stab wound. But this has changed me as a person to see things differently and to understand things differently and to not be weak and just try to protect yourself, and forever, regardless of the time that I may receive from today, I forever will have this experience. I forever will have George Torres with me in my heart, in my mind, my body, and my soul. As he and I used to say that we were one soul split into two bodies. This is not just for a moment. It may be for everyone in this courtroom, but when I leave, this is forever. When you all leave, that this is forever. This is forever for everyone here and those who it matters to most. I am one of those who will experience this forever. I'm sorry. Words do not define my shame, and I don't know what else it is that I can say and convey to the Torres family how this happened. The ifs and whys and how really don't matter. It happened, and I'm sorry. Words cannot describe. And I hope that everyone can forgive me, the Torres family most of all, and his daughters, because I know what he meant to them. And I don't think that anybody ever understood what he meant to me and I to him. And I ask for forgiveness.
Ms. Boone, I have just one or two questions, if you don't mind. And you can speak on it if you want or not. But this is a unique case, and one of the reasons it's so unique is that you were in jail for 4.5 years prior to your trial. And I understand that when you were brought up as a child, that you did have some spirituality in your family, some church, some religion.
Always.
But I understand that you got away from that. Did you have a chance during the 4.5 years to look back at your spirituality?
Absolutely. You know, everyone supposes that this is one of the worst experiences of my life, and it's actually been one of my greatest. If I were not beaten to death, I was going to work myself to death on the outside, and I never had time to get back into my Bible and to pray and to be with the Lord. And I, being here incarcerated, have had time, of course, to get closer to God, to reacquaint myself to Him and realize what it's all about. This is all temporary, and when I say temporary, I don't mean by being set free in jail or from prison or wherever else. It means being set free and temporary, meaning that you work for something higher, you work for God, that you strive for your crown to be placed upon your head by Jesus Christ by being said, "You have done well, my good and faithful servant." I've always tried to be a good and faithful servant. I was just a servant as opposed to doing all that I can when my family were alive and I was going through everything up to this point. I've become so much more closer to the Lord, and it's made me such a better person, and I hope that I am an example going forward of the Lord's light and can draw many people to me because of it.
Any follow-up, State?
No, I assumed that was the final word.
Thank you. She can return back to council's table. Anything else from your side of the ledger, Mr. Owens?
No more witnesses, Judge, just arguments.
Okay. Anything else in rebuttal, or just proceed to argument, State?
Just proceed to argument.
Okay. All right. Once Ms. Booth's seated, you can proceed with your argument, either Mr. J or Mr. Cacciatore.
I mean, wow. Just wow. But it's what, just another Monday. Nothing to see here, folk.
Your Honor, I'm going to start my argument by what I anticipate Mr. Owens will bring up in his presentation regarding the plea offer in this case. That she was offered a resolution in this case of 15 years in the Department of Corrections to begin with. I think it's important, though, that the entire circumstance of that plea offer is put forward. And there's something very critical to that. It's not just 15 years in the Department of Corrections. It's 15 years in the Department of Corrections, but it's predicated on something. And the consideration that it's predicated on is the defendant coming to court and accepting responsibility for her actions. For her coming to court and saying, I am responsible for George Torres's death, and I accept the punishment that comes with it. That consideration was never given in this case. And because that consideration was never given in this case, the offer of 15 years in no way represents what this case is worth, or what George Torres's life is worth. That is an offer predicated on a particular circumstance, a circumstance of a first-time defendant accepting responsibility and giving every benefit of the doubt in coming to court and saying that they are ready to be punished. Those conditions were never met. So then we turn to this case, and we turn to this crime, and we turn to the actions of the defendant of taking the law into her own hands and murdering George Torres. She has never shown remorse for that. She didn't show remorse for that here today. She again painted herself as the victim. She's the victim of George Torres. She recounted the litany of evil deeds and mistreatments that he perpetrated upon her. She's the victim of George Torres' family. She's the victim of the police. She's the victim of social media. It's all about Sarah Boone. Everything's about Sarah Boone, about how she is the victim. But Sarah Boone sentenced every one of George Torres' loved ones to a life sentence. Just like she sentenced George Torres when he was in that suitcase. George Torres lived out his last nightmarish circumstance in that suitcase, begging to be let out for several minutes, which undercuts any argument that this was somehow unsophisticated. There was ample time and opportunity over and over for her to do something different. But she went forward with taking the law into her own hands and ensuring that George Torres was never getting out of there, while she went up to bed and went to sleep for hours on end. She can't say that she was in duress for the same reason. She was in such duress of George Torres that she goes upstairs and goes to sleep for 11 hours. Your Honor, there's been nothing from the testimony of Dr. Harper either that establishes any type of diagnosis that would give this court a basis to downward depart. Dr. Harper has put blinders on to the fact that she has been incarcerated for 58 months. 58 months with the opportunity to receive mental health treatment, and the expert witness is absolutely incurious about what any of those records or diagnosis or anything that would have been there would have said. There is no valid basis for a downward departure in this case. She deserves a life sentence. Thank you.
Mr. Owens, response?
Judge Rainey, first off, I want to thank you for taking the time to hear our side, hear the witnesses, and review the letters on Sarah Boone's behalf. You know, we've all been here for this trial. We've all been here for other trials. We've all got some age on us. We've all got some life experience on us. And this is a unique case. This was a unique homicide. It was a unique death. And as we all know, a lot of these cases are not black and white. They're shades of gray. And these crimes don't occur in a vacuum. That there's generally a history, especially involving a domestic couple, a history that comes into play that must be explored. And a lot of what Sarah Boone testified to here today probably happened behind closed doors. And we all know that many times we do not know what happens behind closed doors between a man and a woman in their home, unless there is some reason for the neighbors or law enforcement or somebody else to get involved. And that happened in this case. And so gradually over time, as this event occurred, there was an investigation, and it was learned that there was a history of domestic violence involving these two parties. And what we learned was that physically there was violence, and there were photographs to establish that, as were introduced in the trial. And then there was testimony from experts, not only the defense expert, Dr. Harper, that Sarah Boone was the victim, and she was a victim of intimate partner violence, but coupled with the fact that the state's expert testified on the stand at the trial that Sarah Boone was a victim of intimate partner violence, that she suffered from this domestic or this battered spouse syndrome at the hands of George Torres. So there's two sides to it. And in a domestic violence situation like that, 95% of the women get out of that relationship. When violence starts to occur, they've either been raised a certain way, they have a certain self-esteem about themselves, where they refuse to put up with it, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that they can do better. But there is a small percentage throughout the country that, for whatever reason, mental health issues, addiction issues, whatever it is, it's complex. Financial reasons, children are involved, whatever. If you do any studying on it, there are circumstances where there is a group of women, predominantly women, it can happen to men, but majority of the time it's a woman that gets caught in this cycle of what we term as intimate partner violence. And heard the testimony about the cycle that occurs. It's over a period of time and it repeats itself, and you go through these phases. And a lot of times the victim's not a great historian at trying to articulate it. She tried to do it here today. And I think on Sarah Boone's behalf, she is a unique individual. She's got the personality that she's got. I don't know, you heard from Dr. Harper that a lot of that was formulated based on the way her mother did not bond with her, the way that her father was the way that he was, the fact that she lost several relatives at a young age, and the trauma that can result. We heard from Dr. Harper that she did suffer from post-traumatic stress as it relates to that trauma in early childhood, and then again as it relates to the events that occurred between Mr. Torres and her. So it's complicated, Judge. It's complicated. But the jury has spoken. Sarah Boone was entitled under Florida law to present that defense, and she did. That testimony was allowed to be presented. She was allowed to testify. But the jury spoke. And so here we are today with you in a position to decide what is justice for Sarah Boone. And I don't know you that much other than our time together, but from what I know you try to do the right thing. And that's what we're asking the court to do. To have some discernment, to have some understanding of the unique situation that Sarah Boone found herself in. And quite frankly, Judge, this all didn't occur behind closed doors. A lot of this was in the public eye. Mr. Torres had, I believe, 3 criminal cases before the courts of this county in which Sarah Boone was a victim Mr. Torres was the accused. Those cases were dismissed. We know from the history of this domestic violence field that that's normal, that Sarah Boone every time either tried to bond him out or tried to get the case dismissed. At some point, somebody has to stop. Somebody has to say, wait, what's going on here? This keeps repeating. It's going to get worse. Something's going to happen. The system failed, Sarah Boone. I'd ask for you to consider that. Circumstances surrounding that failure and what led us here today. I've asked the court to consider a downward departure. I believe you've gotten a copy of the score sheet.
Not since before trial.
Okay.
Is the score sheet stipulated to?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may approach.
Exhausting.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I was provided that here today, and I believe, I can't remember the total number of months that it involves, but divided by 12, I think it's 20 months. 20.6 is the low end of the guidelines or something about.
It's 246.0 months, based on the score sheet.
I did the calculation, but I believe that the low end is 20 years, 20.6 years state prison, I believe is the low end.
20.5. Yes, sir.
As the court knows, I believe it's on page 3. There are some aggravators that the court can consider in opposing the sentence, and then there are a list of mitigators that the court can consider in downward departing, meaning going lesser than the low end of the guidelines. And in the defendant's motion for downward departure, we mentioned, and I had Dr. Harper testify about 2 or 3 of the grounds, and the court needs to only find one to go below the guidelines. The capacity of the defendant to appreciate the criminal nature of her actions and to conform said actions to the requirements of the law were substantially impaired. Judge, I don't have to reiterate the facts and circumstances surrounding this event. You were here, you heard the testimony, you heard the circumstances surrounding what happened and how it happened. I would ask that you consider that as a mitigator. To D, the defendant requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is not related to substance abuse or addiction and is amenable to treatment. I think it's fair to say here that we know that Sarah suffers from some mental health issues, objective mental health issues that have been opined by Dr. Harper and Dr. Werner. And you heard Dr. Harper testify about the post-traumatic stress disorder that she suffers from as it relates to this event, as it relates to her trauma that occurred in childhood. I think we heard from Dr. Werner. Dr. Werner testified that she suffered from the alcohol abuse disorder, as did Dr. Harper, but Dr. Werner also mentioned that she was not for sure about the anxiety disorder, whether it occurred prior to or because she was in the jail for the 4.5 years. However, she does require specialized treatment for the mental disorder, and she is amenable for treatment. And then third, the defendant acted under extreme duress, I think based on Sarah Boone's mindset as she testified to her today, and then you heard from the experts at the trial that when you get that anxious about what happens, Sarah testified about they would have good days where there would be no drinking or very little drinking, and then there would be other days where there was heavy drinking, and generally when George Torres got highly intoxicated is when potentially things could get violent, and that she was constantly anxious about each day that she was with him. She loved him, obviously being in a cycle like that where you love someone but can't leave them. For whatever reason, George Torres couldn't leave Sarah Boone, and Sarah Boone couldn't leave George Torres, and it was a vicious cycle. But we believe that she qualifies under that it was under extreme duress at the time of this event. And lastly, the defense was committed in an unsophisticated manner, which was an isolated incident. Now, isolated, we know, Judge, that she had one prior event in which both of them were arrested. You heard her testimony that it was during an event. They ended up downstairs next to the washer and dryer, and that she was on the bottom, and she had used her hands to try to get him off, and she had tried to choke him, and there were some marks on him. And she was arrested for I think felony domestic violence battery, as well as he was arrested. I think a few days later, both of those charges were dismissed against either party. But she has no criminal conviction record. She has never been convicted of a crime, other than that event. Now, I think that can be distinguished, so we believe that it was an unsophisticated manner. Obviously, the uniqueness of this event is unsophisticated. Anybody that would calculate that they were going to murder somebody by putting them in a suitcase and letting them spend the night, and the next morning, not try to dispose of the body, not try to put the suitcase in the car and go dump the body, not try to dispose of the bat, do something. She did nothing. No attempts to tamper with evidence. No attempts after the fact to uncover any conduct whatsoever. No attempts to delete the videos from her phone. Here's my phone. Voluntarily given that information. I think that goes to the unsophisticated manner and unintentional death that occurred. I remember the first time I saw the suitcase video. And I know people have differing opinions. Tony Henderson, my colleague, had a different opinion when he saw it. But I remember the first time I saw the video, and I heard what she was saying to him. When he was saying, "Hey, Sarah, let me out. I can't breathe," or words to that effect. And the way that she was talking to him, and the statements that she gave to him, in my mind, what has he done to her? What has he done to her? Any loved one you see in a situation like that is going to run and let them out. So my thought was, obviously, they were both drinking. But what has he done to her? And I think it's telling about what she'd endured. So it's not a clear-cut case, Judge. It's not black and white. There is some gray. And it's up to you to decide what's appropriate based on the court's, based on the jury's decision. But I would ask you to temper whatever justice that you think is appropriate with some mercy. And consider the fact that the state was willing to offer 15 years on a manslaughter as a lesser included offense based on the facts and circumstances that they were aware of prior to this trial. Thank you.
Thank you. Any rebuttal by the state?
Please now. Please let it end.
The court has had the opportunity to review the evidence and testimony that was presented at trial. The victim impact statements presented here today, the statements of character witnesses, both orally and in writing, Dr. Harper's report and testimony, the defendant's testimony, pre-sentencing investigation, the arguments of the state and the arguments of the defense. Court pronounces sentence as follows. Ms. Boone, court sentences you to life in the Department of Corrections with credit time served that Madam Clerk will provide to you momentarily. There are also court costs and costs of prosecution, which Madam Clerk will give you the totals of momentarily. Due to the court levying a life sentence, the court is inclined to liquidate those to a civil judgment unless I hear opposition from the state.
No opposition, Your Honor.
All right. Madam Clerk, if you could please give us the credit time served and the court costs, please.
4 years, 9 months, and 8 days, and the court costs are $418, a state prosecution fee of $100, a dirt fee of $50, and a PD. Oh, excuse me, you're not supervised.
I'm right.
So the total would be, will come up to $618.
All right, ma'am, the court costs and costs of prosecution are $618. Those will be liquidated to a civil judgment. You will be given credit time served of 4 years, 9 months, and 8 days. You will have 30 days from today to appeal the judgment and sentence in writing. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you. I'm going to have the courtroom deputy provide you the paperwork. Because you've been incarcerated for the last 58 some odd months, the court is going to declare that you are indigent in this matter. I cannot appoint the public defender to represent you as they are conflicted out. Similarly, I cannot appoint the regional conflict counsel to represent you for the same reasons. The clerk will appoint an attorney from the conflict wheel who specializes in appellate litigation. And again, you'll have 30 days from today to appeal that judgment and sentence in writing. Do you have any questions for me? You will now be remanded into the custody of the Orange County Jail to transfer you to the Department of Corrections, and I wish you the best of luck. State, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Defense, anything further?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you all very much. Court's off the record.
I am speechless in a good way. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm going to put it back on mute for a second. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah, wow. Woo! 15 years she could have been out, and she just got a life sentence. I mean, y'all heard me all along talking about 30, 35 years. Nope. Nope. Oh, she is. No, we are in the middle of the most major narcissistic injury going on right now before our eyes. She had to get up there and smear his name and the family's name. The judge was done. Was done with her, as he should have been. She's been holding that speech in for years. She's been holding that speech in for years. I mean, what? It's like, what else can you say? She got up there. I mean, the way that she victim blamed him and smeared him that whole time. Well, I forgive him for doing this. I forgive them. I mean, she insulted everybody. Everybody. The family, juror, everybody. The court, YouTube. Yeah, so I do not believe, well, Florida doesn't have like a parole system. So I think in Florida life is life. You know what I'm saying? In fact, let's Google it. Hold on. It says punished by a term of at least 40 years. Yeah, I mean, she smoked. I mean, there's just no getting around it. She smoked. She could have gotten out in 15 years. So for those just joining, Sarah got life. She done. Girl smoked. I mean, again, she no remorse. In fact, she got up there and trashed George and his family. You know, and yeah, and I'm reading the comments, and Owen's getting up there, going on and this, and downward departure, and that, and the other, and but it's. I mean, I get he's trying to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it's his job. Her getting up there with that ridiculous speech, which she probably wanted to say that in the trial, but obviously couldn't for obvious reasons. And I mean, just set up there and just, I mean, I'm really just speechless. It's been a while since I've seen a defendant go on and on like that. I mean, she literally begged for the sentence. Yep, she's trying to play it cool, like, like nothing happened. And those people, she could only get her inmate bunkies and her pen pal to speak highly of her. And the pen pal talking about, she's not a narcissist, she offered me her kidney. Please. No. She's got these people snowed. I mean, just, I don't even know if the word evil is right. It's a different blend of evil. And the way she was like saying that, forever, forever, forever. I'm just blown away. I did not expect him to give her life. I mean, that just shows he was done with her. He was done with her. I mean, I'm not complaining that he gave her life. I'm just literally shocked. I literally thought he was going to give her like 30, 35 years. I mean, she talked her way into that life sentence. She begged for it. To get up there before the judge sentences you and rip through the family who just got up there, the mother crying and going on about her son, and you get up there and run his name through about how much you're a victim and how much this. He's done. He's like, yep, see you later, Sarah. He's like, I'm done. She doesn't want people to see her upset. I mean, but everybody knows she's sitting there just looking stupid. It's like you could have gotten 15 years. She's her own worst enemy. She's her own worst enemy. And up there, all these people getting up there talking about she's so wonderful and godly and she's a Christian. Had the, bless that little chaplain's heart getting up there the first person. I just I cannot, okay? That concludes 5 years, and she got life. She earned every bit of it. The amount of money she cost the taxpayers, the time of the court, the trauma that she put the family through, continued to put them through for years and years, all the way up to sentencing on the stand. And she showed the judge that in there, she's not going to change. She's not going to change. Yeah, and the comment about, like, you know, them knowing her for this amount. Here's the thing. The people who got up there and spoke to her, you know, her friends from jail and whatever, she's into this controlled environment where she knows she's like manipulating and have to manipulate people to be friends and this and that and the other. It's like, well, of course she was nice there. She didn't have anything else to do. You think she's going to be doing all that if she was out? No, she'd be, you know, passed out in the front yard with a bottle of vodka. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I love that they just have the camera sitting on her. Life without, Smog says, life without shoulder pads. She's going to make some. She's going to make some. Thank you. Hold on, let's see here. Hold on, I don't want to miss anybody. First of all, thank you, Sylvia, for being a member for 2 months. Hey, Bush, thank you very much. The girl that should have made a difference. She's, oh, I know. The way that she's trying to make herself this martyr. I am a survivor. I mean, I'm like, seriously? Oh, wait, hold on. We got Jamie being sent. Okay, hold on. Please hold. Please hold. Please hold. Okay. It's cold. I'm not wearing any panties. I already told Owens that. Her little crush on Owens is gone. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop sharing this and go over to hear y'all for a second. Okay, hold on.
On how Ms. Komorowski's home detention was structured, she was in jail, but for being at home. And I think it is appropriate that she receive credit for any time served on monitored house arrest or home detention. Those terms in my mind are interchangeable. From the period of 3/1/2024 through the present, and we'll calculate that and place it on her sentencing sheets. Again, these sentences are concurrent. I've ordered the ATU if it is available to her, and she will get credit for any time served pursuant to 24/13/40. Thank you all for your time and your attention today. And I know that she
deep remorse and sincere apologies to all who were involved in this tragedy. Including the first responders, police, friends, and families of the victims, and anyone who was hurt in any way due to my poor decisions that night. This will be something that impacts all of you for the rest of your lives. I take full responsibility for the tragic outcome that my decisions have made. I will carry this guilt with me for the rest of my life. And as much as I wish I could go back in time and have none of this happen, I know that cannot be done. A lesson I have learned is that just because you have good intentions or would never want to hurt anyone, if you aren't being responsible for your actions, you can and you will hurt people. I know I am going to be punished for these actions, and I agree that it is something that must be done. I would like to make it clear that whatever my punishment is, I will use the time to better myself, spread awareness about the dangers of drinking and driving, continue to help others with addictions through AA, and work every day to improve myself to give maximum service to the community and my fellows. Some ways I plan on doing this include staying extremely involved in AA and the fellowship of helping people recover from their addictions. I am able to do this because I know what it is like to be an addict. I did not want to believe that I had addiction to alcohol before this tragedy, and so I told myself every day I was normal. The fact was, though, that I was helplessly addicted to alcohol, and that I was living every day with no meaning. This led to me not caring about how my actions would affect others. I never want to live my life that way again. And I hope to help people to never have to feel that way as well. After completing my sentence, however long Your Honor decides, I plan on going back to school to get a master's degree in animal-assisted therapy. This degree will allow me to follow out my dreams of being able to help people recover from PTSD, anxiety, depression, addiction, and more through the use of rescue animals. Lastly, I want to share my story with as many people possible in order to try and prevent tragedies like this from happening to other families. I want to emphasize the importance of warnings of drinking and driving to college students as well as young adults who haven't heard the message since high school. It is vital that the warnings of drinking and driving don't stop after the age of 18. I feel we all need to be reminded, no matter what our age is, so that the reality that this can happen, if not careful, stays fresh in people's minds. I have never been in trouble before, but one isolated decision of mine devastated so many lives. All of this work I plan on doing will be dedicated to Samantha and her family. Unfortunately, it took this incredible tragedy and terrible incident to wake me up to the extent of my addiction. I hope to help people wake up and rehabilitate before it's too late. Because every single decision we make has consequences. And knowing you have taken a beautiful life from this world is something I will live with every moment of every day going forward. A life that should have lived on to fulfill all of her dreams and ambitions, who would have helped so many people in her life, all because of my own inconsiderate and thoughtless actions. I want the last thing that I say to be that from the very bottom of my heart, with every fiber in my being, how sorry I am, and that I take full responsibility for my actions. Hopefully one day you will be able to forgive me, but I know forgiveness must be earned. Regardless of whether that day ever comes, please know that I will always be devastated, deeply ashamed, and terribly sorry for what I have done. I pray God stands by the side of my victims and their family and loved ones for the rest of their lives. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anything from the state? I would like to hear from the state regarding the defense request for credit for home detention pursuant to 241340 for her house arrest.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, please report.
Yes, sir.
The state's opposed to that credit, although...
Tell me why.
Well, Your Honor, the state's position is that pretrial detention, incarcerations, manifestly different than being at home, being able to
What
spend...
does the statute say, though, and what does the legislature say about the statute? Why did they amend the statute?
The statute leaves it in the court's discretion, understanding that it's the court's decision to make. I'm just conveying the position of the state. Although it is in your discretion, it is, it may be granted according to statute, that the state sees that pretrial detention is different than house arrest.
It's my understanding, and I don't have the bond order in front of me, and I apologize, in advance for that because I should have it in front of me so that I'd be able to refer to it. Not your fault, of course, or your responsibility. But doesn't the statute speak to these type situations where someone is on strict house arrest where they're not allowed to leave their residence? And but for the fact that they are at home, they basically are incarcerated, and that's why the statute was amended.
It speaks to 1340 does speak to that under for conditions where one is under strict house arrest, credit may be given at the discretion of the court, essentially.
I think that if you
I fast forwarded to where it gets to the sentence so we don't have to listen to all that. There we go.
may be seated, the defendant will stand for sentence. I've listened very intently to everything that has been presented to the court, and I have taken into consideration the mitigation that has been presented. And based on what has been presented to the court, I find the following appropriate in the nature of sentencing. On the offense of reckless driving, reckless homicide, which is 2023 GS 103895, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 10 years and $5,000, provided upon the service of 10 years. Yeah. On both counts of felony DUI, great bodily injury, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 15 years and $5,100, provided upon the service of 15 years. And on the offense of felony DUI with death, you're sentenced to the State Department of Corrections for a period of 25 years and $10,100, provided upon the service of 25 years. These sentences are concurrent with one another. You'll get credit pursuant to 241340 if that becomes applicable. And I think it is appropriate, and I queried Mr. Finch for a particular reason. It was not random. Our state legislature, in their infinite wisdom, amended 241340 to allow for time spent on monitored house arrest. And it was contemplated that a person get credit when they are basically in jail at home. And based on how Ms. Komorowski's home detention was structured, she was in jail, but for being at home. And I think it is appropriate that she receive credit for any time served on monitored house arrest or home detention. Those terms in my mind are interchangeable. From the period of 3/1/2024 through the present, and we'll calculate that and place it on her sentencing sheets. Again, these sentences are concurrent. I've ordered the ATU if it is available to her, and she will get credit for any time served pursuant to 241340. Thank you all for your time and your attention today. Have a good afternoon. And I will leave the clearance of the courtroom to security, so I would ask that everyone stay in place and allow Major Burnstead and those who are assisting him. Ma'am, you may want to leave any valuables you have with your family. Leave that to them, so I would ask that everyone stay seated until the security does what they need to do in terms of clearing the courtroom. And if Mr. Curry at this point are present, as soon as y'all get through doing that, if y'all could bring him in so we can take care of his matter as well.
Wow. Okay, let me go mute this over here. Whoa. Yeah, she thought she was going home. Now, who are all these officers and stuff here? Are they with the victim? Or are they with Jamie? So, for those who don't know, Jamie is the girl who was just sentenced, Jamie Komorowski. Oh, look, there's Eric. There's... That's one of the victims. His wife was killed by the girl who was just sentenced. So Jamie was out drinking and driving, or drinking all day long, and she plowed down a street, a suburb, while that gentleman crying and his wife were leaving their wedding. My Okay, and there's the mother. See the lady with the white hair behind her? That is the mother. Now there's drama between the mother and Eric. The mother was doing all these lawsuits over the money and settlements and all this stuff. Okay, let me get back to y'all. Where are y'all? Woo! Lot of justice being served today. Lot of justice. That's going to be real tough for Miss Jamie, who has been even though it was home confinement, she was at home. And literally thought she probably was going to get time served. I mean, wow. Oh, thank you, Kate Bush, for gifting memberships. Okay, you think she'll be eligible for parole in 8 years? You only have to serve 25% of your sentence in South Carolina before parole eligibility. So, yeah, sure. So, thank you, Dawn, for that information. Pardon me. So, what's her name? Jamie has a chance at getting out. Sarah? Not so much. However, we will hear about Sarah for the rest of our lives. Via Sarah. Sarah will appeal. Sarah will go through the court motions. She will want to become a beacon of hope for other victims. You know. Damn, I can't believe the judge gave her 25. These judges weren't playing today, y'all. They weren't playing. I thought Jamie was going to get a pretty severe sentence. She would have got, but here's the thing. If you want to compare Jamie to Sarah, Jamie did the smart thing. Jamie threw herself at the court's mercy. Sarah didn't. Jamie would have been sitting in prison with a life sentence too. Period. End of story. Man, yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day for justice. Let me tell you what. Now, I apologize. I'm freezing. I've got my little heater going over here. My thing right here. Yeah, it was a bad day. Sarah Boone, 12/2/2024. I mean, so true, right? Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh yeah, Jamie, I can tell Jamie's shocked. She probably knew she was going away, but not, she probably thought 10 years, like, okay. When they said that 25, you saw her. She was like, huh? What? Uh-huh. She wasn't expecting that at all. So Sarah Boone got life, Jamie got 25. But again, what it's just with both with it's like with Jamie, it's like, what did you think was going to happen? You know, what did you think was going to happen? He says, I have a legit crush on Judge K. I know. He's so handsome and nice, and like, he's been a great judge, or is a great judge, I should say. So this, if you're just tuning in, what we're seeing here is, so I guess the cops were there with Eric's family. Thank you, Distress, and says, I so want to create it to unleash on her. Yeah. Yeah, but you know, and it was interesting how he was just like, I'm not going to indulge. I'm not going to indulge. So I think some of the money, and Jenny just asked what happened with the money. I don't know who got the money. And some of these things are still waiting, but I think Eric offered the mother money and was like, look, I'll give you some money. Like, we don't have, why are we doing this? You know, because like the mom started off with, that's not her last name. Her last name is like our family name. And then like, it was a whole thing. Like the mom was like wanting to annul the marriage and it was getting very grabby with the money. I mean, it brought a whole new level to this. Yeah, compounded tragedy, Jenny says. Yeah, it's just, hold on, let me go up here. Okay. Yeah. Someone just said, yeah, the mom was acting up. Roro says it was acting up 2 seconds after the death. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So there you have it. We've been years in the making. It's insane to me that the Jamie thing literally was happening like it all came down and Jamie Komorowski was getting sentenced at the same time. I'm just like, seriously, how does this happen? Right? Oh, thanks, Jojo. So we'll be on the lookout because we are definitely 100% going to be hearing from Sarah again. Hey, Veronica. We will see motions. We will see letters. She will probably find ways to speak out to the public. She clearly is good at getting people, who are incarcerated and pen pals to, thanks, Nana, to find sympathy with her. I don't think Sarah will ever change. Jamie's going to have a very long time to sit in prison and grow up. Do I think that Jamie's speech was sincere? No, but it was much more sincere than the way she sounded in the beginning of this. She hopefully will have a chance to come to reckoning. Sarah will never. Sarah's absolutely, what crazy. And I mean that in the most nicest professional way. Those will be the bigger trials. Koberger. Oh, yeah. Koberger and Diddy. Oh, my God. Yeah. Yeah. Lawyer B says she would write family and call George racist. And thanks, Down Under, for being a member. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it was like Sarah, there was literally zero chill. She might as well have gotten up there, peed all over the judge's desk and said F you to him, his mother, his father, and his great-grandmother. I mean, literally, okay? She earned every bit of that life sentence. She was sitting there trembling inside. But she would never let anybody know that. Never in a million years. Never in a million years. Oh, excuse me. So the girl, the killer, are you talking about Sarah? So Sarah Boone got life and Jamie Komorowski got 25 years. She got like 10 years for one charge, 15 for another, and then 25, and they're all concurrent. So 25 being the top one. She's lucky the judge didn't make them consecutive. Because 100% if she went to trial, they would have found her guilty. No questions asked. Found her guilty. Right? And then she would have gotten life. She would have 100% got. Well, with Jamie's boyfriend, maybe he can start her legacy of making miniature free libraries. If you were watching last night, we watched Jamie's jailhouse calls, and she was like going on and on about how she was going to make those, those libraries you see in neighborhoods. That was going to be like her thing to do to help the community. And it was like, girl, what are you talking about? Or, what I mean? Like, what? Just a completely surface level human being, nothing beneath the surface. And maybe that will change now. Who knows, right? Probably, honestly, being away from her family will be the best thing for her fighting chance at life. Because I think that it's just, she's been enabled her entire life and it's turned her into a monster. Oh, yeah. Erg says Jamie's definitely gonna be gay for the state. 100%. Sarah already is. Sarah's got women fighting over her in the damn courtroom. Sarah's got women fighting over her in the damn courtroom. Like, I gave a better speech, baby. I mean, oh hey Dwayne, how's it going? She's gotten lined up and fighting. Her boyfriend's probably already, and Jamie's boyfriend's probably already gone. Christine says, who would fight over that Roku? I know, right? Well, apparently that lady on the phone was like, I hope Sarah doesn't get mad. She offered me her kidney. That's not a narcissist. You've got a doctor up there two doctors, even her own, who said she has narcissistic tendencies. I'm going to go ahead and believe her. Ugh, and Owen's getting the damn doctor back up there on the stand. Can't roll my eyes hard enough at that. That's insane. Emily says, oh, she canceled the wedding. Talking about Jamie. Amen. I mean, because she's sitting there planning her wedding from behind bars, and it's like, honey, you're probably not going home for a long time, right? Hopefully her parents were able to talk some sense into her and be like, girl, you need to get some affairs tied up at home before you go back in. Like, you're not just walking out of the courtroom. Okay, you're going away for some amount of time. But again, if JB, I'm sorry, if Jamie gets in there and really truly makes an effort to change and grow as a human being, she's going to get a chance for parole. She'll get out eventually. I mean, she's young. She's, 30? So she does her whole sentence. She's going to be, close to, I mean, she won't do the whole 25, but you know what I'm saying? And yeah, Jamie showed, whether it was fake or not, she showed some level of remorse. Sarah got up there and literally read everyone for filth in that courtroom. I mean, and then when she sat there talking about, I still love George, I'm like, but you've trashed him for the last 20 minutes. Yeah, that whole thing, Max is here, says life instead of 15 years. That was a hard, bitter pill to swallow for her. Hard, bitter pill to swallow. Big time. Yeah, Indy, I agree. I did not expect in the Sarah Boone case the judge to give her life at all. I'm not complaining, but I did not expect it. I was literally like, I know it is nap time. So yeah, y'all, I've literally have to go. Well, it's 4:30 now. It's might as well be bedtime for me. I'm exhausted. Halfway through the Sarah Boone thing, that took me out. With Owens up there, I was like, and I was like, it's getting cold. I've got my little heater going back here. I was like, the dogs are calm. I'm like, it's literal sofa time. Oh my gosh. So here's what we'll do. Well, hold on. I was going to say we were going to do it. We already did it, though. I was going to say we'll watch the Jamie Komorowski sentencing tomorrow night, but we just did. So, yeah. So, we'll figure something out. I'll let you know when we're going to go live again. A couple of things here. First and foremost, obviously, thank you to all the mods for hanging out, making this possible. Y'all are amazing. Thank you to everybody for hanging out and joining and watching. I'll make a post about the members, Menendez Brothers, book club meeting. And then Saturday, December 7th, be on the lookout for Gigi, Pretty Lies and Alibi. I'll be on her channel with a few other people doing going over Shayna's new book that came out on the Alec Murdaugh trial with one of the juror members. So that's going to be fun, right? And very interesting. If you've read the book yet, it's really interesting perspective on somebody who walked through it, like like one of us. Veronica, the Menendez book is I think it's just called the Menendez Brothers. Well, hold on, I got my phone right here. I act like it's some major thing, right? It's like, oh no, we don't need to do no install. Lord mercy, the phone will be shut down for ages. It's called The Menendez Murders by Robert Rand. And to me, the show is the monsters. It's almost like word for word this book. It's very wild to me. So that is it. I'm going to go take a nap. I love y'all. Thank you for hanging out. And That's it. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I do appreciate y'all. Again, thank you to all the moderators for making this happen. And that's it. I love y'all. I will talk to y'all probably tomorrow on a video. Maybe a live chat. We'll do a couple more during the week when some stuff comes up, and I'll put that out there too. So that's it. Thank you again, everybody. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful evening.